Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo channel. This is going to be a message for my winner, but if you landed on this message, you will find that you resonate with the message because that's the way that spiritual energy works, especially on this channel. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Laura, and I'm going to do again a message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. On this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading. So we do look at everything, but we take more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play it as karmic themes to help you understand why your person does what they do. What is the whole spiritual significance of the connection? This is really important when you're dealing with past life karmic mates, this past life karmics. They can keep us stuck in a place of disempowerment, limitation, unless we really learn the spiritual lesson. See, the universe brings us everything that we need, not necessarily what we want, what we need. So again, the karmics that come into our life are coming in to teach us. The problem is a lot of times there's such a strong spiritual connection that there's so much chemistry that we can get lost in that element of the connection and not see the red flags in the connection or why. So, hey, Jonty. So, this is your reading. So let's see what the cards are going to tell us. Okay, now, for those of you that are new, know that the first card that I pull out is the underlining energy that tells us why everyone's doing what they're doing. That's really important when dealing with a person that wears masks, creates illusions. All right, let's just see what that energy is. Let's see. It's disappointment. And let's pull another. Like, I feel already like you're in separation from someone that you're not, and the whole time that you were pretty much in a connection with this person, it was more off than on. Um, though they definitely have a spiritual connection to you, so made the connection really, really, really like impossible. So, magical realism is also an underlining energy. So, again, the magical realism is that there's a magical element of the connection. However, I believe that you're someone that really is, I want to say, a creative being, like someone that um, sees the magic in everyday life, that is probably a highly sensitive person, an empathic person, someone that's very intuitive. So you're going to have a very strong ESP connection through the heart and mind. That is, again, how you knew that this person was a soulmate. But the disappointment is, again, like this is opposite energy. You have such a strong connection to someone, and there's love, this unconditional love. However, this person like doesn't do anything except for disappoint you. So, you know, hey, Diane. So, we can see, let's see how they acted. Not that it's important, but just to again give it some energy dealing with this person. This person was self-righteous. They were also stubborn. But the irony is that sometimes they would flip also to being like hopeless. All you knew is that you didn't trust this person over time. So, again, not uncommon for a past life karmic mate to give a lot of mixed messages. But I just want to say here and right now, when a person gives you mixed messages, the best thing to do is leave them alone. Don't feed them anymore. Don't give them any more time, energy, focus, money. Don't give them anything because they know what they're doing. It's I feel like they felt your sensitivity. They're someone that, knows when someone like has feelings for them. They come on with their sex appeal. They come on with that with that, all that, but there's nothing behind it, is what I'm feeling. Like just enough to get you hooked. Why I say that is it's again, when a person comes on that way, a lot of mixed messages, what you know is that they're not giving you anything. They're giving you just enough to keep you hooked. And that's how they can read how you feel about yourself. Meaning, someone that's really busy in life, loves their life, has a lot of passion in life, is not going to put up with that. It's not going to be on a high enough vibration, because the person is making you feel a lot of mixed messages. Sometimes like one day happy, the next day sad. One day happy, the next day mad. Or even in the same day, it's a lot of mixed messages. And it's all so that they can act superior. So what you'll find is that you'll always be catering to that person, giving to that person. It's like an energy vibe, like an energy vampire. But it really shows you what they want the relationship dynamic to look like. And mind you, this isn't a relationship that would go the distance, because once they got this, they wouldn't want it either. That's the irony of it. It's the empty well. I feel like you're not in this person's life now, and you don't know what you got till it's gone. You were a giver. You really did care. You really did show up. And so this person, like, again, has a lot of fears around relationship. Does it bother them what they did to you? Yes, but no. Again, they will always find a reason why they act the way that they did, which again, I feel like they're still haunted by like relationships of the past, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you. That's why I said I feel like they would justify it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, John D. Exactly that. And that's intermittent manipulation. When one day I'm coming into your life and I'm acting like everything's fine, but the next day I'm purposely not, and I know damn well it's going to trigger an emotional response in you, but you're not going to say anything. It's like, or they're going to sense out to see if you're going to say anything. And if you don't say anything, they're able to see how, like, well, you care about this relationship. They're reading you by your reactions. They're manipulating you through your reactions. So if you don't play along, well, they can't do this. And not to mention, if you remove yourself and the person had emotion anyway towards you, well, now you took your power back, and now they're going to focus on you even more, because, it's all about control. It's all about dominance. And this is ego driven. So again, the person is manipulative through being very dramatic. So what you'll find is that the person acts like a damsel in distress, or they act like, and even if it's a guy, they're still gonna act over the top. You know, someone that, again, over the top behavior, like I said, creating drama for control, right? Well, if I scare you, then again, I'm able to read you, and I'm able to manipulate you again through your emotions. And what did I say? You're a highly sensitive person. So that's why it's not for you to change you. You're like, well, what am I not supposed to be? No, it's for you to change your approach. When again, someone comes in one day and they're giving you a lot of love, the next day they're not. Stop playing the game. Because again, the longer you play the game, the longer they think, oh, well, look how much caring you have for me. Look how much love you have for me. The longer you hold on, pretty much the bigger the wound gets, the more manipulation, the more screwed up you'll feel about yourself. Again, where it's all about them, like tempting you through the physical, but they also get tempted through outside things. So it's like they're not even going to be committed to you in the long run. See, it's like this person, because what it is they'll come in and they'll make you everything they want you to be, but it'll never be enough. And the whole time they were reading you to see how long you were going to give them, to how much, by how much you cared about them, by how much you'll put up with. And it's all about drama and control. And like the reason why that they get tempted so easy is because what you'll see is all this dramatic behavior creates intimacy issues where you're not building authentic relationship with the person. The person's not being transparent. And so, of course, without building an emotional connection, well, then everything's surface. Everything's surface. So the minute that the relationship becomes hard with you, well, now they're looking for someone else. Again, it's all about control. It's all about control and dominance, where the relationship is always rocky. It doesn't need to be this difficult, is what you know. And again, like feeling like where even if you are hanging out with a person, sometimes in order for them to control you, they'll act distance. Like they'll act like they're far away, like thinking about someone else or thinking about doing something else while not really being in a connection. This is another form of an intimacy problem, which is trust problem. So you'll feel like, well, yesterday the person was really with me and they really cared about me, but then the next day it's like they're in the same room, but you feel like they're checked out. And it's all like, again, avoidance tactics. And it's not because of you, it's because of their issue. But the longer that you hang on, the more that you're going to think that there's a problem with you, the more that you're going to be prompted to do and to give of your energy. Again, I feel like this person doesn't have a good sense of self. And when I pull this fear of death, the person doesn't know who they are. They create a mask, create a facade. So there's always a fear of that being exposed because that person has made their reality the image that they wanted to portray. So part of the actions and behaviorisms that this person does when they're in a relationship with you is all about keeping their image. It's all about, and that's really what fear of death is, but it's fear because this person doesn't really know who they are. They're not comfortable in relationships. And they're terrified of being in a place of disempowerment. So what do? They try to control you. They're like, if anything, they're putting me in a place because there'll be a lot of projection when a person has a lot of trauma. Person has a lot of problems, but what you'll notice is they're self-inflicted. It's because of their actions. It's because of their, like, that's what I'm saying, Jonty, exactly that. It's because the person's coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. And then the more that you give, the more that this person pulls away and then acts like they don't care. It's all about getting a reaction out of you. And the longer that you held on, the more that it told this person how much you care and desire that they can, and it's all to get whatever they need out of you. And it doesn't necessarily mean passion. Sometimes it could be money, it could be anything. And so, like I said, the person has a lot of burdens because this is the way that they treat people. They have a lot of, I feel like the old habits is that it's that this person has a lot of player energy, inherited family patterns, just like, and so again, projection. And that problem with the whole projection thing is that they don't take responsibility. And then what they're doing is they're blaming you for what they're doing. So it's a real gaslight and it always ends up in betrayal. And so you have to say, why did the person do that? Well, again, it's not like there wasn't a connection. There was a connection. However, sometimes we think that someone is like a past life um, soulmate when a person's just like a karmic mate. They're coming in really for a season, not a lifetime, and they're coming in to teach something. However, the longer that you entertain this, the longer that it becomes more like a trauma bond where this person like needs to release attachments with either karmic people or karmic things. So they could even have addictions. An addiction could be, I don't know why I feel like a shopping addiction. So anything that takes this person outside of themselves. So what we see is again somebody that's never really going to feel whole, hasn't created themselves. And they're going to expect you to be their entertainment. So again, and to have full control, they kind of always have somebody, okay, so that's the attachment, but they usually always have someone on the back burner as well. Not anyone that they're really giving to, but because when they leave you, they have to have somebody else already lined up. So it's not that they're giving anything to that person when they're in a connection with you, just a few breadcrumbs here and there, pretty much priming them as their next victim. This person says, that they can feel that you're angry. I feel like they're angry and it's creating an energetic match and frequency with the other. So it's like because this person played so many games, like clearly when a person plays games and messes with you, you're not going to be happy. The key is not to give this person any energy at all because they're a soulmate. They even past life karmic mate, they can feel you. They're tapped into you. That's why they had the power that they had. So when you're angry at this person or mad with this person, I feel like you're still feeding this person energy. And so they still have control, and that's what it's going to feel like. This person feels like you're their twin flame. So there's almost like a sense, though, when a person isn't healed, that you're like property, that you're property. They don't see you as a person. They don't see you, they see you as property. Again, separate or together, they feel like they can, again, feel your energy. This person is trying to still figure out this connection because they get triggered too. They get angry. They don't have control. And then, but they've never experienced anything like it before. So you'll be like, why is this person still holding on? Well, it doesn't mean that they're healed. A soulmate, and whether it's a past life karmic mate or any type of connection, there's still love there. It's not like there isn't love there. It's that this person can't control it. The problem is they kept trying to control it until you left. So again, doesn't mean that they're still not trying to figure out the connection, but what it is that this person knows already that you disconnected from source. Like there was a connection, like again, that there was a soulmate connection that kind of you felt like brought you to God or brought you to, it says source, but you disconnected from source. And so, they're kind of like saying that the love and the healing that they required for reunion would obviously be like part of source, but you're not in the energy of source. I feel like they wanted you to perceive that they were in that energy of source and for a long time, and that's through the fact that there's spiritual lesson, and the spiritual lesson is the fact that there's again, that spiritual connection, ESP through the heart and mind. This person like has a lot of different feelings for you, but what I see is they get triggered. They have a lot of subconscious fears that are affecting their ability to attract love and abundance, and the universe really is helping them make the conscious so that they can one day attract what they want. But and I think that you came into this person's life to like show them subconsciously, and for you obviously, um to show you what subconsciously is blocking you. And that it says clear the illusions of the 3D world, don't take everything at face value. There's a lot more going on spiritually and energetically than what you see. Now that doesn't mean that you're getting back together. What it means is that you were really affected by this person, and this person was really affected by you. You're not together anymore, and there's still a spiritual connection because the lesson really hasn't been fully integrated. Is there's still these feelings of like hurt, and really spirit says it's because you incarnated together to clear specific patterns from your ancestral bloodline. So again, the connection was too right. Too many questions to get that help that got you bored because they were never giving anything. Their intimacy issues, but then you have to say, okay, I brought this person into my life. We see that they played a lot of games. We don't really see that they, even though that they have feelings, they're not strong enough. They're not strong enough to make their own choices and decisions on what they want. So we don't really see that. We don't see them changing. There's no all the cards pretty much are redundant. I keep saying the same thing. So we have to say, why did you attract this person into your life? Because at this point, you're like, I'm still connected to a person I don't want to be connected to, because you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have, you wanted the reading, number one. And that, so that proves it. And also, to be like, I was affected by me, and like I was affected by it, and you want to clear the energy so that you don't attract more people into your life that do the same thing. I tried to prevent that. I had to touch a tickle in my throat. Okay, let's see. Because to really understand, it's like this was like a dud type of connection. A person that comes into your life, doesn't offer anything, pretends that they do, plays a lot of games to keep you stuck, and then once they have you and you've done everything to their satisfaction, they don't want you anymore. They dispose of you. So it's all about, why did you attract this person into your life? What did you need to learn? What are you supposed to be doing now? Because once you learn the spiritual lesson, you still have to integrate the spiritual lesson. And into integrating it is really meaning like not just seeing a different outcome through doing something different, but doing something with the negative energy. Because what we know here is that this person created a lot of negative energy. Because here it is, you're in a relationship with someone that all we saw here, like it was like 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however fucking long it was, of drama, of nothing. So, but we know that that was time, that was effort, that was energy that you were ruminating, you were bothered by. It took up a lot of time. So what are you supposed to do with that energy? Because the energy is gone, not gone just because that person's gone. It's that energy, you're still holding it because you didn't fully learn the spiritual lesson. If you really want to cut the energy and say, I'm on a totally different vibration, so I didn't even think about that person anymore. They don't affect me anymore, which, by the way, I feel like for a large part, you have moved past it, but there's still elements of the connection that you don't really understand. And it's you sometimes you can only get too deep. So first card out, confusion. These are the inner child wound cards. Why we pull the inner child wound cards is because it creates that energetic imprint on the subconscious mind that the child self remembers the emotion. And that's what actually becomes your energy vibration or part of your energy vibration. So when you say, why do I attract this person? Does God hate me? Does the universe hate me? Was I supposed to, like, am I not deserving of love? Spirit says you're deserving of love. You are love because you're me. And I'm the universe, and the universe's energy is love. So you are love. So it's impossible for you not to have love. And you're like, well, then this is what I created. So, and Spirit says, yeah, well, it's again because of those inner child wound cards. You really haven't integrated those lessons yet. So, water, resilience, resilience. Someone's resilience belittled. Someone's oppressed. So we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one more. One more. Unworthy. And then we pull 3 from another deck, and then we'll read them all together. I have 2 decks in here because I have a lot of cards and not that many bags. They rip. With time, I have to change my system. But what you'll see is, like again, 2 different decks. We got this deck and we got this deck. So we're going to take this deck and we're going to pull. I'm going to just pull like 4 and I'm not even going to read them. We're just going to pull them to the side. All right. Now let's see. Well, oppression and belittled and feeling unworthy. I feel like you had a parent that made you feel that way. That it's not that they didn't love you. They loved you the way that they knew how. But and I feel like, but it felt like you were someone that was a very creative kid. You were someone that was a very imaginative kid, a playful kid, like again, a highly sensitive child. And I feel like I really feel like it was your dad. Again, that there was a connection. Actually, a little bit your mom too, I'm not gonna lie. So the way that they dealt with you, the way that so it's not that they didn't love. Everybody loves the way that they know how, and it depends on the ancestral karma of what was going on in the environment when they were, everyone had formed habits and behaviorisms, but part of that is emotional abuse, being treated like you're unworthy and doing it through belittling, which is kind of like having a parent that's a bully, that's making you not feel strong within yourself. So that was the energetic imprint. But it's not like it didn't create resilience in you, meaning like, well, if you really want something, you can get it. It's just usually the relationship department tends to get blocked, but it's the other things in life that you go after because you don't give up. And it's because, hey, someone tried to oppress you, so you know what that feels like, but that suppressed your second chakra, which is that second chakra is the element of emotion. It's the element of, finding your balance through your unique individuality, your passion for life. Really, what makes us be who we are. When we look in the mirror, we say, this is who I am. It's through our hobbies and our passions. And I feel like during that time, it was projected onto you that you were less than who you were, and that you didn't really feel safe or comfortable with that parent. And because of that, it was like, well, I'm not really going to really step into my true unique individuality. It took you a little time to find that. So again, and it was mainly because you were oppressed and oppressed by emotionally, is what I would say. So again, that water element is that second chakra to go with the flow of life through our unique individuality. It's the passion center, it's the birthing center. So I feel like in order to heal that, you throw yourself more and more and more and more into the creation process, into something creative. And that's the transmutation process. So again, you can be pouring that into writing, you can be pouring it into music, you can be pouring it into some sort of art, some sort of, again, and it's so that's the way that spirit says to, maybe the way that you learned how to deal with it growing up as well, because again, it was overwhelming where you grew up, and to be in this situation, to be with somebody that's in and out of your life. They might not be talking down to you, belittling you, but they're certainly making you feel unworthy. They're certainly making you feel less than. They're certainly making you feel not good enough. And that's definitely going to affect that second chakra, which is, again, how you perceive yourself. If you're giving more energy towards this person, well, it's our environment that creates our reality, because we begin to perceive that. So spirit's saying it's also the emotional center. You'll wind up, you always know when you're in a karmic because you're in a bad mood most of the time. So spirit's saying, again, to heal it and to integrate it, we again obviously need to see that we are very worthy, and that's by not letting anyone oppress us. And but understand you attracted this person that tried to oppress you through, again, the same tactics that you were brought up in. So that was the energetic imprint. And really, spirit saying during this time, it's all about seeing it's all about use your passion to, again, so that's your creativity, that second chakra, that water center, that to be able to go with the flow of life. Spirit says use your passion to fight for what you believe in, stand your ground. So obviously it's to continue pouring into the things that are feeding you, and not, again, it's to be true. So you're not going to give energy to this person, but you had to go through it in order to alchemize, that energy. It's that energy from childhood is there. It didn't just go away. There was that person, whether they meant to, they didn't mean to. A lot of our parents, they needed healing. There wasn't healing. They didn't, and they had to live in a lot of different experiences. And remember, they were not told that God lived inside of them, that they had supernatural energy, that they could create their own heaven on earth. And no one told them how to do that. They were told, you know, by your IQ, this is what you're going to be able to do in life. And by the looks of you and how where your parents came from, how much money they had, they put people in categories. And so that creates a lot of trauma, because people begin to walk from that level of consciousness. We've actually come to a place within our evolution where we have to break the ancestral karma. And believe it or not, there's 700 generations worth of ancestral karma. By the time it gets to you, you've inherited 700 generations. And it's so that when they say the ancestors are like, oh, come on, man, like, I hope you guys win this. This is what it means. It's like they're relying on you. So you could say, well, my grandparents got married, but they might have had a very toxic relationship, codependent relationship. So what you'll see is, again, that not that people didn't get married, they made their life work, but there was a lot of trauma, there was a lot of triggers, the relationships weren't smooth because of it. So again, the alchemist, because really, yeah, there's infinite possibilities for you, but you will not see those possibilities because of that second chakra, that water element was blocked. So your spirit saying you're not seeing your true self. You have to pour more into your creativity, more into, again, your passion, more into, because there's infinite opportunities for you when you release fear. And part of releasing fear is to see this situation from a different perception, because you can't get rid of it. You can only alchemize it. And so, again, you alchemize it by seeing it different. And also, spirit saying you also don't have enough of that passions in your life. And passion isn't just about doing what you love. There's a blocking connection with people, is what spirit's saying. So the more that you pour yourself into your passion and your creativity, the more you're going to meet people that are more in alignment with who you are today, not the wounds of your past. And that's going to be through like meeting people that are going to help support you, because spirit says, that hasn't been really reparented. Remember, support when you were a child is mother and father, and we can't go back in time. You're not going to go back and live there, but you still have to heal that. And support comes through, again, the environment and through your passions, through your creativity, through the things that you love. Because right now you still have a block, like I don't think I might meet anybody, or I keep meeting people like that keep doing stuff like that to me, make me feel unworthy, make me feel as if there's something wrong with me, when there's nothing wrong with me. I'm nice. I know that I'm a good person, but that's the way that they try and make me feel. That's the outcome. And spirit says, because you keep choosing your person instead of letting me bring you, the universe bring you someone that's more in alignment. And that's because you haven't created enough of yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that you didn't work, and it doesn't mean that you're not doing some of the things that you're passionate about, but you haven't made that come into full fruition, which spirit would say that'll look like a lack of money, a lack of opportunity. When meanwhile, on here, if you would alchemize this energy already, there's infinite possibilities, but it's a block. So you can't like attract a person into your life until you actually heal that. It doesn't mean that you can't attract a person. You will attract a person, but the type of person that you attract is also going to be wounded. And what we saw is that this person didn't really have an identity. Their identity, is all about controlling people. It's all about breadcrumbing and creating drama, unnecessary drama and games. So person doesn't have time to create themselves when they're doing that. But spirit says, it's the same energy, because you're not 100%. You're like, yeah, but I'm not that fucked up. I don't do that. And spirit says, there's only two energies, love and fear. So you'd still be in the department of fear, because you're not like there. You want to create that for yourself. There's a fear that you won't be able to. There's a fear that there's a lack of support, just like there was a lack of support in childhood where you were made to feel unworthy. So spirit's saying, there's a lack of grounding here. It's a connection to father. But God says, well, they're not just your father. I'm also your father. And I work through you. I work through the universe, because I'm the universe. So I'm going to bring you everything that you need in order to see yourself differently. But this person brought up all those feelings that were already there due to childhood. So integrating the spiritual lesson. So the question will be, so I got to wait forever till I actually meet someone? Spirit says, no, if you're interactive, doing what you love, making sure the majority of the time is going towards that, you have to do what you love in all different facets. So that means joining groups, doing things to better yourself, to connect, to network. Spirit says, and you're going to meet someone. The key is you're not going to give them the whole fucking pizza, where it's like, here it is, you buy the pizza, and you should only give that person like the most one slice. But really, when you meet a person, really just a half a slice of pizza out of the 8 slices, and that's going to feel like not enough for them. And spirit says, and that should be accurate, because again, they're empty, so they're not going to appreciate you. You're going to come in giving too much, but they were empty. So it's, again, you give them half, knowing that you're saying, oh, well, I'm not giving enough. They're going to fight you emotionally on that. They're going to emotionally manipulate you to do that. But if you're in your passion for life, connected to other people that are also going to emotionally um, give to you, create support, well, eventually that they either drop out of your life because you're not feeding them. You also don't get into connections with people that are gonna belittle you, make you feel bad, because hey, you're on a very high vibration, doing what you love, on your path, connected to people that are emotionally fulfilling. So why would you say, well, let me be with this person that makes me feel like a jerk? No, you wouldn't do that. You'd be like, I'd rather go do this tonight. The fact that there wasn't anything else that you were passionate about, Spirit said that's where you went wrong. You thought that this person was your passion. You thought that this person was going to fill your cup up all the way. No, they don't even have anything to give, Spirit says. So the key is that you had to fill your own cup up, because hey, there's opportunities that you want and you're not seeing them. You're like, well, I don't really see them. My third eye isn't working. Spirit says, well, everybody has a third eye. So that means you're not in your body. That means you're ruminating on this jerk. And it means that you're not pouring the energy into yourself again, and you're not becoming yourself by connecting to different people. And that happens through, again, doing what you love in all different facets, in all different ways, and connecting to different people, because that's how you're going to connect to people, through what you love, so that people then see you through that perception, not the perception of your wounds. And that's really what Spirit's saying, is that you're more in vibration with that old self, not the new self. So continue on, because opportunities are going to unfold that allow you to really see yourself differently, because only the universe can change your mind and your heart about how you perceive yourself. Well, it's not even just perceive yourself, it's the habits and the behaviorisms that you formed from living in an environment where you were oppressed and made to feel unworthy and made to feel like it to be bullied. So again, you identified with love in that way. So you always overgive. Where Spirit's saying you're trying to like control how much you give. But if you were really invested in yourself, you're not trying to think of it. Everything's organic. And someone that's actually not in their energy, they won't be able to stay in your energy. Meaning, if they're not feeding themselves, becoming themselves, they're not going to be able to sit there and be in a relationship with someone that is, because they're going to be triggered a lot. They're going to, that's going to create a lot of problems for them, because no one wants to feel empty and like they don't have a purpose. They just don't know what's the matter with them. They just know that relationships don't work out, that it's always drama, it's always whatever. But really, Spirit says that energy is not because you like the drama, it's because of that energy vibration that hasn't healed. So, and you say, well, can I avoid it? And Spirit says, well, you can avoid it, but you'll just keep attracting people with that type of personality, and not just within your relationships, even within work, even within opportunity, because Spirit says, like that's an imprint. So you'll like always attract difficult people that you'll be like, well, what the fuck is like this person? And Spirit says, don't react the same way that you react in childhood. It's that you have to react differently and do something differently in order to learn the lesson. And if you're pouring yourself into what you love, well, then it commands the environment to treat you as such. It's like whether they want to or not, because they're not going to get a reaction out of you. And that's what spirit is saying. Part of you would need to master that energy anyway, because what you'll notice is, oh, well, I'm trying to create this thing, and like I just get people that aren't respecting me, or people that, and so spirit's saying, it's again, part of that is a grounding issue. When you see yourself differently, and when you're doing differently, you react differently. And that's really what spirit says, is that you might have learned in your mind, but spirit says, but your body isn't on board yet, because your body is your mind's faithful servant, and you've been conditioned to live in an environment as such. So you can feel a little detached. You might have a lot of anxiety around it. You might experience a lot of different things because of having a parent that makes you not feel confident about yourself. Again, that's this bullying energy. Well, again, that first connection was the attachment style. So you're like, well, I wind up getting people that are like emotionally unavailable. They're not, they have attachment issues. They're avoidant style. And spirit says, put more energy into yourself. It's again, because love is the only antidote that heals. If you're going to meet somebody that's in that that is on your level, you still need to kind of teach them how you want to be treated. So spirit's saying, but once you again are doing in alignment, again doing what you love, being in alignment with that energy, it commands the environment. So what you see is that you're a lot stronger than what you perceive, because growing up with a parent, especially a father that's bullying, well, it's again, it makes us feel weak. It makes us feel, and that's what spirit's saying, is that you need to again integrate that energy, because that's the big issue of why. Yeah, right, right. So I have always been generous, and I fed her until I was exhausted. Since she didn't give back, I had to take my right. You had to, but by the time that you realized it, there was a big gaping hole, is what Spirit's saying, where it's not the more that you give, because that person is like training you. It's like they're priming you that like by through emotional manipulation, which is exactly what you grew up in. And so you were like, well, this is the way I learned how to survive. And spirit saying, yeah, well, how you learned how to survive is going to actually prevent you from actually thriving. And it's not because you're not a creative, but this person will take you off your path. This person will like make you pour into them instead of yourself. So it's a real codependent connection, because a person isn't doing that. Their whole purpose is to get you to do whatever it is for them. And that's right. So that's why I say, but you learn the spiritual lesson, and spirit says, so it was all about giving yourself the self love. Like, don't give this person the love. Spirit says, because of the parent that you had, it was like, you're like, well, I was used to not really getting. It's like, and Spirit says, well, now it's time to reparent yourself. You have to give yourself the love, attend to your own needs right now by listening to your heart. Your inner essence lets you know what is good for you. Respect your limits, answer the requests of your body and your soul, and learn to love yourself first, is what Spirit's saying. Learn to love yourself, and understand, if you grew up with a parent that was bullying, that you might say, well, I do love myself, but what you'll notice is, wow, I don't eat during the day. Wow, I don't drink during the day. I don't take care of myself. You'll notice it comes out in your behaviorisms. So remember, you want to treat yourself with love and teach people how you want to be treated. And that's because you hold the standard. And you do that by making sure that your cup is full all the time. So whatever that person gets, they're just getting what falls out of the cup. Yes, it will leave them wanting more, absolutely. And but you want this person to open up their heart. Most people that you meet have a closed heart. They've been hurt. They've gone through experiences. They have trauma that you don't know nothing about. So understand, it's like by giving yourself that love, you're the catalyst to teach that person really how to love. You're being the example. You also create the mystery, and the mystery of, I want to know more. That's not so available. And if someone's on a low vibration, they only want to use you, well, they're not going to stay in your life. They're not going to stay in your life because you're too busy pouring into yourself, and they want you to pour into them. So you don't get into that karmic connection where you're continually pouring into someone and very rarely getting anything back. And Spirit says that you needed to learn this. And that's why, because and not because you attracted this person. You attracted this person because, again, of the energy that you grew up with. That Spirit says, I still haven't learned how to deal with that energy yet, and you have to. And remember, you have to handle it the way that I would handle it. Then the universe says to you, and you're like, well, how the hell would you handle it? And Spirit says, through love. You can't like cast out the dark with dark. You have to do it through unconditional love. And that's really hard when you're like, I don't love this person that bullied me as a child. And then Spirit says, yeah, but you liked that person for a really long time. And they did the same thing. Do you want, and to the point that you want to understand why they're the way that they are. And so, really, that's what it is. So, okay, my biological father died when I was one. My mom got remarried and fought with my stepdad a lot and wasn't nice to me. Yeah, that's the bully. That's the bully. And when you're one, it's like, even believe it or not, even when a person is like a baby and their parent dies, they can feel like, again, like not stable. Obviously, watching the parent cry, be alone, might have struggled with money. Then again, this taught you how to give, how to overgive, because you wanted to protect your mom, even if you're a baby. Believe me, when I left my ex-husband with my son that was 1 year old, and I was crying because my car broke down, my son comforted me. He had his thumb in his mouth and he put his head on my lap. It's like there's a want. It's, again, children inevitably want to give to their parents. They want to love. They want that bond. And so having a parent that was so, caught up in their trauma, and their like, you want to be there. So that environment taught you how to overgive, and then putting up with a parent that you couldn't trust. The stepdad is still, they took the place of your dad that was supposed to be support, and they weren't support. So that's why, again, Spirit's saying you have to reparent yourself. And it's all about you pouring into yourself. And as an adult, you go out and you invest in yourself and you become yourself. And Spirit says, and believe me, when you have reached success in what you're doing, and success doesn't necessarily mean a ton of money. It might mean I am doing what I love, and it's working. You'll meet a person that resonates with you, again, through common interest, through the passion for life. It's like that person will also have like some sort of an identity. So you won't wind up in a codependent connection like your mom did. Because your mom, like you said, lost your dad, and she probably got into that relationship a little fast, and mainly because, hey, I lost someone, and so she was not balanced. So emotionally she needed, so she kind of picked a narcissist. Someone, not kind of, but did pick a narcissist, because, again, that person came in strong, like they wanted to help, but really all they wanted to do was control. So there's that betrayal element of everything was fine, then life collapsed, and then where we wind up with this person. So there's a sense of, I don't feel safe. And that's that bullying energy. And so identifying love with needing to be the rescuer, and also that. And so spirit says, no, 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 no. This is about you. This is all about you. Um, Doing that. Kara, I read for you the other day. This is Jonty's reading. Um, so that is why that happened to you. Okay. So um and right now you're on your path. You're creating yourself. And I feel like, well, let's see what we can see. What will be happening in the near future? Well, that's what I'm saying. Because you didn't learn the spiritual lesson, the narcissist. So you still went into the relationship over giving, overdoing, and that's really what it is. Oh, rewind. I'm sorry, I read that wrong, Kara. I thought you were saying like it's your reading. I was like, what? Okay. Two of Wands, again, charting the course. So I feel like for a little while, you're just going to be like, again, still. Yes, we do. We do sign up. Well, the thing is, we all have to learn, and we learn every single experience. And we do so because we're down here in physical form to learn we're not separate from God, which is love, which is the universe, which is each other. However, we're born into families and societies that teach us, again, prejudice, teach us separation, teach us everything through, again, the experiences that we live. So when I say we're learning we're not separate from God, is that we're not separate from love. The shadow aspects of ourself are like, we're not aware of most of those shadows. And so what'll happen is that your it'll play out as a karmic theme. And that karmic theme, we all tend to need to learn, whether it's in this lifetime or another lifetime, would be unconditional love, obviously the most important one, because love yourself, because spirit resides inside of you. And the karma is when you abandon yourself and you give too much to someone else, when you look for that love, or again, to fix that aspect of self through someone else. So people that say, oh, I want security, oh, that person makes a lot of money, and then they wind up with the narcissist. Then they're like, well, the focus was on, what that person could do, what that person, and they'll even pretend that they're going to do that, but then they don't do that. If anything, a lot of times they're the exact opposite. They're cheap. So it's more like, the more that you throw into yourself, then the more life opens up for you. So it's not that you can't be a nice guy, you just don't have the time, because you are someone that really was not allowed to have boundaries growing up, if your parent was a narcissist, and if you were on the rescue mission for mom. So there's a lack of balance, where spirit says the balance comes in you creating yourself. And if you're like, well, that still leaves me too much time, well, then spirit says, then you're not pouring enough into yourself. Remember, if you were in a place, if you were suppressed growing up, well, you don't even know who you are. There's a lot of who you are that you don't even like, that you haven't experienced. So spirit's saying that there's a lot of life to live, and once you're living that life, it changes you, because the people you meet along the way are not going to treat you the way that your mother and father did. They're going to meet you for who you are today, especially if you're leading through your passions and your talents and the things that you like and the things that you enjoy, that's what people are going to know you for. They're not going to know you for how that stepfather treated you. So that's the way. So you say you try to stop doing that, but it's imprinted to give, right? Because it was a survival mechanism to give. But when you give yourself enough, and things start to happen because it's a co-creation process, then, and remember, you're just going out there the best way that you know how. You don't really know how you're going to manifest what you're going to manifest. You only are allowed to say what you want to manifest, but you go out into the world and you try to manifest. This is where it says be like childlike, because children don't really have a plan. They just go out and see what happens, and they have a direction and they follow that direction. Can they get sidetracked? Yeah, a lot of times there is no direct path. So spirit is saying the when you are on this path, yes, this is Amy, where you are also going to have the lessons, and part of those lessons can be karmic and hold you back and take you off your path and redirect you. But and those are the lessons. But the balance that you need to create is to pour more into yourself, because once you're making things happen for yourself, like let's just say you're like, well, I'm doing my music, and I wound up making this really great tune and selling it, and now I made all this money that I decided to buy a whole other recording studio. Then we made this song. I met these people along the way. Now we're traveling, like all these experiences are happening. Someone comes into your life and they're good looking, but they have 1,000 problems. You're going to see that from a mile away. And you're also going to be like, I don't have time. And the reason why is because it's going to be, well, do I go and accept that Grammy? Do I wind up going and playing that gig at the best nightclub that all these hot people are going to be at? And, maybe somebody that wants to sign a contract for me, an opportunity. Now your third eye is opening because you're like, I don't want to hang out with you. It's like, what do you bring to the table? You don't bring anything to the table. You just a lot of drama. And it's like you in your body, you're like doing things. You can see how things are going to manifest for you. You become excited. You're in the passion for life, and you're doing what you love. You're connected to all different people. You're meeting people. You're saying, this is where I'm going. This is where I want to go. You're not focused on somebody that's draining your energy. It's like that's the way. It's like there was no outlet really. It's like, and when there's no emotional outlet, the more that person has control, which is why narcissists love to isolate. They love to control. It's called divide and conquer. It's like they divide from your friends, from your family. It's all about control. But they can't do that if you're really passionate about something. If they're going to come into your life and they're going to say, oh, you're doing too much, you're going to tell them, go take a hike. Take a hike. You know why? Because I'm up for a Grammy, or you know what? Because I'm flying around the world, or because I got this opportunity, or because every Wednesday night I go and I dance the tango with Harry, and I have a great time. It's like, and maybe Harry is taken, but he's more entertaining. It's again, anything is going to be better than what this person is bringing to the table. You have no control because there was no outlet. You allowed that person to consume you. And so this was all about learning the spiritual mastery, and that's getting strong within yourself, and that's still gonna really happen. Like right now I feel like you're still in that process, um and I feel like you are gonna throw yourself more into your passions, and what you're gonna see is some opportunities, I feel like, come this summer from it. And it's all to help you break the family karma, because that's really what it is. It's like you've inherited like family karma. And so you're breaking it. And in that, you're breaking it by becoming yourself. So you attracted this person mainly because of your childhood and the habits and behaviorisms that you created to survive as a child are really what's sabotaging you in this connection. So no one would be able to just change it, because you're going to always do what you feel when you're in a relationship. But the problem is, what you feel is always going to be too much because you didn't get enough. So you're going to not realize that you overcompensate. See, it's a second chakra imbalance because you don't have balance. Balance comes in making sure that you're taken care of first. So then this way you always have good discernment, because you're not so close up to the picture. You actually have space, so you can see when someone's not consistent, you can see when someone's not treating you right, and you're able to change through that how much you give them, really, because that's the person's not really giving you anything, so except for drama. So you can release, throw yourself into more of your passions, and you don't play along. What you would see is that that person would try and come back maybe once, twice, maybe even try to change their strategy a little bit, but inevitably they wouldn't be able to take you down. You wouldn't be left with a big hole. And that's really what it is. That we see that you're in a place of overcoming the sorrow of it. And again, you are, healing. That's what Spirit's saying right now. But during the summer, you're going to take action. That's really what's happening. Um, does that person like get justice? Eventually, they just didn't get it with you. It's like, because I feel like you were too nice, but you learned. And once you learn what you need to do, it doesn't mean that you're not going to pull another narcissist to you. I hate to tell you, you probably will, because until you go through the experience again, but embody the new consciousness, you don't really see. And energetically, you can't change that energy. It's the trauma from that emotional energy. Oh, you dreamt about her a lot, not the ex, but the other girl. Well, either way, I mean, it's that who I think is my twin. Well, I think that it's that person is not a twin, and I'm going to tell you why. I think that they're a past life karmic mate that could have been a twin. Understand, past life karmic mate is someone that there is a lot of love. There really is a lot of passion. But when they are not ready to step it up, and they don't step it up, and that's this person did not step it up. They played nothing but games. So they're a past life karmic mate that could have stepped it up but chose not to, because every lifetime they have an opportunity to step it up. They met you. It's again, there's that connection, ESP through the heart and mind. Person feels like home. All the potential is there. You're seeing that. However, did this person step into their divine being? No, they did not. They were in all their lower energies as a woman. I mean, Jonty, to be honest with you, this person like played games. They made you feel bad about yourself. They, they never fix themselves. And this is if you're connected to a guy. If a guy, it's like you can have so much passion and so much love for a person, but they're not willing to let go of the sabotaging behavior, that just the habits. They can't really um, fix the sabotaging behaviorisms a lot of times because they're not aware. But the things that they are aware of, they're not willing to change, and they don't do the healing work. They don't want to. So it's almost like they keep you in a low energy. So could that person be a twin flame? Yeah, if they did the work. They had the opportunity in this lifetime. And what you saw is, oh, they chose not to. So they're a fake twin. And so it doesn't mean that there isn't love there though. Pat, especially if this person is like, I perceive you to be this way. And so again, the relationship is fantasy because they're not giving you energy, but they can feel how much you would be a giver, how you would be a lover, how you would benefit their life. And you're like, see the connection, and you too can see how that would be. But are they actually putting in the effort? No. Are you putting in the effort? Not if they're not. So it's more or less the energy is in like in the ether, but it's not in the it's not grounded. So yeah, well, I can see once you met that person that they helped you, but that's also what'll happen. It's like you're connected to a narcissist, and after a while, it could be 3 years, 5 years, 6 years. Finally, the person's not giving you anything. Now, someone else comes into your life. They actually have pretty much the same energy. However, you're able to let go because of the law of transmutation. You can't just get rid of negative energy. So you just replaced one pretty much lower energy for another lower energy because no one rose up to the top. And you say, well, then is that because I'm not deserving? Spirit says, no, it's because you didn't integrate the spiritual lesson. So yeah, you fell in love with her, but that's also because you weren't 100% like in the energy that you're in. You didn't learn fully. It might mean, hey, I learned that I overgive, but you didn't embody the new consciousness. So spirit says, you're in physical form to do that. That's why you're in physical form. You can't just learn in your mind and think, oh, I learned it already. Spirit says, but the habits and behaviorisms are still in alignment with, again, that level of consciousness. So integration is actually changing all of that. So yeah, you've just replaced one for another person that had similar energy. So because again, you just can't get rid of negative energy. It has to be replaced with something. So you think that they are both narcissists. Well, and that's what I'm saying. They are. And that's why you would say, well, I can't get a person that loves me. And Spirit says, you need to learn the lesson. Otherwise, you're always going to say, I wind up with people that either are narcissists or I'm not really into them. It's either I can't have love. That's the theme. And Spirit says, you can. You need to, again, fix that energy. Right. And that's what happened. But once you do walk away and save yourself, you can never go back to that same energy again, because that energy is not going to be able to stay in your life. You're welcome, Amy. It can't stay in your life. Yeah, like, see, you only go through it once. The person will come back into your life, or you meet someone else that does the same thing. They can't come back into your life because what you say is, oh, it's like, I have other things. I learned the lesson, and that's the beauty of it. It's that you didn't learn the lesson, but in order to get away from that energy, that a new energy came in, which meant that you wound up in a karmic loop. It's like this is the same exact experience, just with a different person, which is what would make you perceive, well, see, I can't have love. And Spirit says, no, but you keep doing the same thing. So that's why that always looks the same way. And then you're like, all I'm doing is I'm trying to treat people the way I want to be treated. And Spirit says, yeah, but you're like, want to be treated really well and have an unrealistic expectation of what that person should do because you didn't get that growing up. So there's a sense of knowing what you should have gotten, wanting that. So you come in and you give it in hopes to get it because you say, well, this is what it looks like. When you look around at everybody else, you say, well, that's a successful relationship and that's what they do for each other. Yeah, but they've been together for 5 years. They've been together for 10 years. Those people earned it. Relationships are something that happen over time. And it's where we never give the person as much as they want. And it's, if you don't have enough passions in your life, then you're giving them as much as they want, and then they're not going to appreciate it later, because again, you become like the regular everyday old shoe. You're reliable, but then people begin to see you for that and not really for the person that you are. So then there's a sense of love is transactional, and spirit says, well, the way you grew up it was, but not now. It's like you keep doing the same thing. It's actually not. Give to yourself first. And so that's the energy. So it's not like you deserve to be with a narcissist. It's to make sure that you're really fully invested in yourself, like, and not in, make your life look like a pizza pie. Time to for work, time for your hobbies, time for your interests. Join clubs and interests to try and promote whatever it is that you're doing. Meet with other people that do what you do. You want to learn, you want to grow. You don't know everything that's going on in the industry. You don't know of every opportunity that could advance you. It's again that this is the grounding part, is that it's that this is the vehicle. This is what I love. I'm connecting through all different mediums to become that. You meet your tribe through that. You even will meet a girlfriend or boyfriend, like again, with it depending for you, Jonty, obviously girlfriend. So, because you keep saying, so, it's like you meet somebody in your life, exactly what, like, that you're not over giving. You're not teaching the person to disrespect you. You're not teaching that person that you care so much about them. You're not sharing anything except for what you want to share. And that's what needs to happen. Most people get into a relationship and they overgive. They give too much, too fast, too soon. And you realize is, I was not on the same page with this person. And it's because emotionally you didn't get. So you were trying to make up for that unconsciously. And what you got was the same thing that you grew up with, which kept you in that same karmic theme. So Spirit's saying, more into you. I'm telling you. And what it'll do is it'll balance you out. Doesn't mean that you won't see narcissists. Narcissists go to everybody. It's the people that give them the time. And it's the people that have grown up in that type of environment dynamic that don't know their worth. Where spirit says, you don't know your worth. You got to, again, throw yourself more into your passions. Then you'll see yourself the way that I created you, not the way that you decide to see yourself because of the environment that you grew up in. That's what needs to be transmuted. And it is a ride. It's a ride, but you're healing and you're growing and you're becoming a better version of yourself. And what you do know is that you cannot go back into the same limited energy and accept what you used to accept. And that's where the healing comes into play. Spirit says, now become abundant by, again, throwing yourself into like all avenues of what it is that you love. And we know that's through your music. So that's through like the artistic things that you do. So Spirit saying, continue to do that. And I will make a way where there is no way, just for you. No one can copy it. No one can take what's yours. Only you can take what's yours. No one can stop you from being abundant, from being love. Just make sure to stay true to yourself. That's what you're learning. That's what you had to learn, that because you were not taught that. You were taught to give other people first for your happiness. You have turned to my faith and enjoy each day. And that's the key. And to really live abundantly is to make sure that you're like connected to like a lot of different people through the what you love, because the universe, like I said, doesn't just work through you. It works through the environment. So when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So when you're on your path and you're still becoming yourself, Again, we're not allowed to say how we're going to create the success. You can't say, I want it to happen like this. Spirit says, not going to happen that way. And you say, well, why wouldn't it happen that way? And Spirit says, because I'm going to bring you to things that you don't think you can have, things that you think that you're broken in, things that you've been seeing things from a negative or wrong perception. I'm going to show you a different way to view the world, view yourself. And so you don't know how to do that. So understand you'll be redirected a lot. So make sure, again, you're really invested in yourself, loving yourself, and understand if someone loves you, likes you, they're going to fight to be in your life. If someone really, that you can't get rid of a person when they really like you. We've all had that person that we're like, I don't feel the same way, but it's like, oh my God, like, but here they are on the phone and you're like, I'm not home. Remember when there would used to be the landline and your parents were like, so and so's on the phone, and you're like, I'm not here, you know? Or the like you saw them walking down the hallway in school and you ducked into the bathroom, or you were like, I can't get rid of this person. It's like they didn't get the hint, no matter how many times you were like, I'm busy, I'm not around. Spirit says, when they like you can't get rid of them. It's like, and when you're in this high energy, high vibrational energy, and you act like you don't, that not that you don't care, but you care more about your life than their life. Well, that's tantalizing to that person, because guess what? Most people aren't enjoying their life. So they're like, why are you having such a good time in your life? So again, you become the example. You're a very spiritual person now and still attracted to her, and I like will meet her again someday. But well, I feel like, listen, it's not like we don't pull people into our life that are like can't be narcissists that you don't have a connection to. Again, that's the whole irony of unconditional love. It's that we learn unconditional love through those broken people. It's like, why would I love that? And Spirit says, because you can't control love. And a lot of times you're inheriting, you're getting a person that has the same traumas that your parents had. That's why it says honor mother and father. And it's hard to, because sometimes you're like, well, they weren't really deserving of it. And Spirit says you have to. Otherwise, you're going to continue to get those type of people into your life. And yeah, so you have to learn how to deal with them. And that's what's happening. So you may meet her, but also understand this: you won't like her if you're still healing, because you're not going to be the same person. As you heal, you change. And so you may have, you ever I mean, I know for myself, I was really attracted to this one person for a really long time. I really liked them a lot, but I just saw so much bullshit, and I was on my healing journey, that I wasn't the same way. And it was all their bullshit that made them ugly to me after a while. It was like I just couldn't see them the same. And that's when you know it's, again, well, that was karmic. It's again because, you know, right, she was too much to deal with. And the more time that you would spend with this person, you would not find them attractive. You would be like, you would see, you know, I mean, you can see the most gorgeous woman or man, and if they act like a spoiled brat that acts like they're not attractive, and it's because of how they make you feel. It's the things that they do. It's like over time, you just, it ruins the intimacy. And intimacy at its basic level is trust. So if you can't have that, it really corrodes the relationship. So you think that you would want that. Like one day I'll meet them again and you're not going to be the same person. If you're really on your path, the unfoldment process, and Spirit is bringing you the different people and situations and experiences that you're changing your mind and your heart, you'd see this person again and you wouldn't give them the time of day. But you'd be nice to them, you'd forgive them, and yeah, but you'd be like, I've, you know what? I've eaten, I that like it's I've eaten at Taco Bell. This person's Taco Bell, but I've also eaten at five-star restaurants. And if I have the option to eat at Taco Bell or the nice five-star restaurant on a Saturday night that has dancing after and has a nice bar with a bunch of different people and it looks like I'm not going to go to Taco Bell. I have actually something to compare. And the reason why is because I was on my path, and the universe is always conspiring to bring me everything that I need. And also, if I'm true to myself and on that path, well, part of the person's karma that treated you like shit, well, they get to see you at that five-star restaurant. Yeah, they saw you on the dance floor. They saw you, and they saw the meal that you got. They saw all the people that were giving you attention, and that you had a really great time. And where they are? They're at Taco Bell, and they, you know what? They're even out of hot sauce. So it was a shit night. I mean, no hot sauce on top of being at Taco Bell when, hey, you're here. Believe me, that's their karma. They're going to see that that's their karma. And that's where you don't have to say anything or do anything, but you forgive them on top of it. See, it would be better off. This person would like it better if you hated them, because then they could justify why they were such a shit. But they can't do that because the whole time that you were nice. But the whole point, Spirit says, is if you would step into really your true self, that's how this person gets their karma back. Because if you're not, then they're like, well, I really didn't miss anything again. And where really they did. It's their ego. It hurts too much to say. Well, that's the thing. You have to get to a point where you loved yourself, and that's exactly what you did. But what we see here was it was a pivotal relationship. You had to go through this experience in order to, transmute it. But now Spirit says, with all that emotional energy that you added up between this parent, through the death of your dad, through this parent, and then on top of it, these relationships, well, now it's really pour it all into creating yourself, because that's creative energy just waiting for you to, again, especially if you're an empath. And you would be an empath if you lost your dad at a young age, and like as a child being tapped into like the grief of your mother and worrying. Again, that's why you're such a giver, where Spirit says, now give it to yourself. Give it to yourself. It's about giving and receiving of love to everybody, in the universe, through the thing that you're passionate about. What's your contribution to humanity? This way you're always going to get something back, instead of giving to this person that will take it for granted over time, because that's just human nature, is what Spirit says. It's not even because the person means to be an asshole. They're on a low vibration. They don't have a high conscious. They're not even aware. But it's human nature to take advantage of it when it's always available. And so Spirit's saying this is a way that you value yourself without saying, hey, you need to value me. But you're showing this person that. You're showing whoever comes into your life that. It's a way to have boundaries with that, without saying, well, now I'm going to lay down the boundaries. We don't say that. We don't. It's the way that we live. It's all done psychically, the same exact way that the person psychically tries to manipulate your ass is the same way that you're living to a certain standard. I know that you do, Jonty, and that's why, again, you've already forgiven them. But now Spirit says, now it's time for you to see the fruits to your labor for everything that you've done. And that comes through the grounding process. And that is why there's not enough of that. You haven't created enough of a new version of yourself. And that happens through actually seeing yourself differently. And that's through the vehicle that you've been pouring your energy into. And Spirit says, so because you have to heal that connection to people. And that's hard to do if the parent was that way and you've dated a few people that way. But you always lead through your hobbies and your passions and your interests. We're not really focusing on you know, who we dated. We're not sharing those personal aspects with new people that come into our life. You don't tell them about your past relationship. You just keep it vague. You don't tell them. It's because it's, again, you don't know who this person is. You don't know if they're a narcissist. They want to get to know you. They have to put in the time. It's just that simple. Otherwise, you're an open book, and it's like, well, so you may say, well, what am I going to talk about? Well, you talk about what you love. You talk about what you're doing. You talk about where you're going, things that stir up your soul. And you don't that, and if this person can't match that conversation, well, they're coming in with, my relationship was one horrible relationship after another after another. You don't really want to create the same thing. Like I said, you don't, by changing you. It's like, that's why if you hold the standard, a person is not going to come into your life and begin to tell you all about their problems. I just think that starting a relationship and telling people so much about your past, well, then they don't have to get to know you. They have to take the actual time. And then if you're focusing on what you love while you're hanging out with the person, then it's like it takes the pressure off. It's a lot, and you're creating memories with the person. It's, again, and that creates an emotional bond, which is lacking in most relationships today, because you're not dealing with a person, you're dealing with someone phony. So, again, if they're willing to actually do something with you, well, then that they're serious in a connection. And when I say do something together, it could be as something as simple as, let's take a walk on the beach, let's go play miniature golf, let's do something. Because, again, creating that emotional intimacy. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you. And there is another girl, but I am selective, trying to take it slow and still focusing on myself to change. They went to Burning Man and had some fun in your. And I think I think to experience more fun within your day. It's like, again, and but just by becoming yourself. You don't need to always go to Burning Man and spend, like, I mean, hundreds of or thousands of dollars, because Burning Man's expensive now. I mean, because it's become a whole, like, thing where years ago, 20 years ago when I went, it wasn't as elaborate. Now it's like really elaborate and it's expensive. So you can, again, just, like, do what they teach you with a lot of these spiritual classes, like the Quest, and there's Landmark, which it's all about stepping into your authentic true self, and that's by becoming yourself. That is the way that you transform. That's how you become a magnet for the love, and how you, again, are able to really create a new life. Thank you, Laura. It's not about that. It's about spiritual transformation since 2011. Haven't gone in a few years. Thank. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's not about that, but it's expensive. Like, again, like, where when we could go on these spiritual things, that we don't really need to actually go there. We can actually do things in our own home, is just what I was trying to get at. Though Burning Man is an awesome experience, just like there's a lot of other um, healing things that you can do that are wonderful experiences. Yeah, see, like, again, when you went for raving, when I went, there wasn't that raving, but it's an experience, and you should have experiences that make life richer, but not everybody has the means, was what I was getting at. When you are on your path, you're actually becoming more spiritual connected, because when you are actually grounded, spirit's working through you. And so you're really connected, and you're really able then to see different, but you are, and you're doing great. And like I said, and you're becoming aware of why you became aware actually of why you attracted this person, and you know exactly what you need to do, and you're on your path. And like I said, you won't be able to go backwards. And that's the best part. So I think that you broke the karmic lesson, you know? You're glad you are a burner. Thank you. Thank you again, Jonty, and thank you everyone else for sharing your energy with me. But I'm gonna go. We've been on a long time, an hour and 35 minutes. Crazy. But I mean, the readings always have a therapy style to them to help you understand the best way and to break those pesky karmic cycles. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Be true to you. Good night or good morning, wherever you are. Bye bye.